And away we go. Episode 1310 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Friday, April 24th, 2026.
With the 7th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State.
And there it was, the announcement from NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell in Pittsburgh on Thursday night as we had the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft. The Washington Commanders, with their number 7 overall pick, took Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. They did not trade down. That is what I most wanted, but I always recognized that was unlikely. But I am very happy that our team got Sonny Styles. The expectation was that he would not be available at 7, but he ended up being available at 7, and Washington grabbed him. You know, Washington history includes many great linebackers. Sam Huff, Chris Hanburger, Harold McClinton, Neil Okowitz, Monty Coleman, Wilbur Marshall, London Fletcher. Might we one day include Sonny Styles on that list? Oh, I'm not assuming anything. He just got here, Galdi. I know. I'm not assuming anything. But the guy is loaded with talent. He appears to be loaded with intangibles. It has been so long since a linebacker drafted by Washington played at a high level for Washington. Hopefully, Sonny Styles is such a player. Hello and welcome to this Friday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, on which we talk Washington Commanders on every episode, no matter the time of year. A new episode is out each weekday morning, Monday through Friday by 5 a.m. Eastern, and often much earlier than that. And, oh, by the way, there will be a special Sunday installment of this podcast, the annual installment of the podcast on the Sunday of NFL Draft Weekend. We on this installment of the podcast are discussing what Washington did in Thursday night's round 1 of the draft. We on Sunday's installment of the podcast will discuss what our team does in Friday night's rounds 2 and 3 of the draft, and Saturday afternoon's rounds 4 through 7 of the draft. The usual schedule for episodes of this podcast is a new episode out each weekday, Monday through Friday, with each episode out by 5 a.m. Eastern. Well, this Sunday we'll have a bonus episode for you, what we call a scheduled emergency installment of the podcast, as the only thing in life more urgent than an emergency is a scheduled emergency. You've heard of an emergency episode of the podcast. Well, this will be a scheduled emergency of the podcast. I am happy, very happy. On Thursday's show, episode 1309, per a request from an emailer, Kent Phillips was asked for my big board for the draft, sans quarterbacks. I had Sonny Styles as my number 3 player. My top 3, again, excluding quarterbacks: 1, edge defender / linebacker Verghese; 2, edge defender David Bailey; 3, linebacker Sonny Styles. Well, Thursday night, Reese and Bailey were off the board, but Washington got Styles. Next segment, in-depth reaction to and analysis of Washington taking Sonny Styles at 7. And also on the show, I'll discuss the Washington Nationals. They concluded a 2-5 homestand with a 7-2 loss to the Atlanta Braves at Nationals Park on Thursday afternoon to lose 3 out of 4 games in the series, although the Nats in the game got a much-needed good outing from starting pitcher Cade Cavalli and got home runs from right fielder James Wood and shortstop C.J. Abrams. By the way, while we're talking baseball, another injury for the injury-ravaged Baltimore Orioles. They on Thursday evening announced having put starting pitcher Dean Kramer on the 15-day injured list, retroactive to April 20th. This due to a right quadricep strain. The O's on Thursday evening also announced having recalled starting pitcher Brandon Young from AAA Norfolk and announced that he'll be their starting pitcher for their game against the Boston Red Sox at Oriole Park at Camden Yards on Friday night at 7:05. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. And I am adding something new to how we get feedback. So I right now am at about 1,500 ratings on Apple Podcasts, 1,500 ratings on Apple Podcasts. That's great, but I would like to get to 2,000. So if you on Apple Podcasts, which is how most of you listen, give the podcast a 5-star rating, I on the podcast will read whatever you write in writing a review of the podcast. And what you write in writing a review of the podcast doesn't just have to be a review, can be a sports take. Like, you don't just have to write about the podcast. Now, I would appreciate it if you wrote something nice about the podcast, but that can just be like a sentence or two, and then you can give me your take on whatever you want, like Washington drafting Sonny Styles, and I will prioritize reading what you wrote on the show. So hopefully this makes sense. I'm trying to make a push for 2,000 ratings, but I'm only looking for 5-star ratings. If you give me a 1-star rating, I'm not reading what you write. 5-star rating, absolutely. All right, lots of feedback on Washington drafting Sonny Styles from Kevin Jones on X. Kevin Jones, the founder and CEO of Blue Wire, which sells national ads for this podcast. Kevin is a big Washington Commanders fan, writes Kevin, looks great on paper. I'm a believer that Styles will be a very good player. Thank you for that, Kevin. From Brian Young on X, writes Brian, seems like a good guy. Looks like a young Wagner. Thank you for that, Brian. From Purple Monkey Dishwasher on X, writes Purple Monkey Dishwasher. Hail, yes. Thank you for that, Purple Monkey Dishwasher. From Jabroni GM on X, writes Jabroni. Love it. Thank you for that, Jabroni. From J-Rim on X, writes J-Rim, we finally going to be able to defend tight ends and slot receivers for the first time in my lifetime. Thank you for that, J-Rim. It has been forever since Washington had a linebacker who truly excelled in pass coverage. Seriously, who is the last Washington linebacker who truly excelled in pass coverage? From Paul on X, writes Paul, is DQ rebuilding the Legion of Boom? Thank you for that, Paul. It would be awesome if we were getting a version of the Legion of Boom with Washington's defense. But, I would take the defense just being mediocre off it being so bad in each of Dan Quinn's first 2 seasons as Washington head coach. I'd settle for mid on defense. But heck yeah, an elite Legion of Boom-like defense would be tremendous. And of course, Dan Quinn, as Seattle Seahawks defensive coordinator for the 2013 and 2014 seasons, was the defensive coordinator for the Legion of Boom. From Mike on X, writes Mike, the way the board fell, the Commanders had to stick and pick, but they are done for a while. I hope they can trade back in the 3rd round. They need more picks. Thank you for that, Mike. Agreed. Our team does need more picks. I want Washington to get more picks, but of course, that is easier said than done. Well, Washington just drafted Sonny Styles. When it comes to your personal style, spring is a great time of year to reset your wardrobe, and you can do so with Quince. Quince is great. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are thoughtful, and the pricing actually makes sense. Quince makes high-quality, everyday essentials using premium materials like 100% European linen and an insanely soft flow-knit activewear fabric. Quince's men's linen pants and shirts are lightweight, breathable, and comfortable. Basically, the perfect layer for spring. The pants strike the right balance between laid-back and refined, so you look put together without trying too hard. And maybe the best aspect of Quince is that its prices are 50 to 60% less than those for similar brands. How? Well, Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality, not brand markup. Everything is designed to last and make getting dressed easy. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/Galdi for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Galdi. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Galdi. Do you remember what Washington Commanders general manager Adam Peters during the NFL's annual league meeting, which this year took place in Phoenix, said about linebacker Sonny Styles? Peters, in an interview with Kay Adams on her Up and Adams show on March 30th, said some very nice things about Styles, leading to speculation that Peters wanted to take Styles with Washington's number 7 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Well, we on Thursday night had the first round of the draft, and Washington at 7 took Styles. It was hard to tell when Peters said what he said about Styles, whether Peters was providing a tell or was just saying nice things to say nice things. But what he said now does stand out even more. Here was the exchange.
Sonny Styles, friend of our show.
Is he?
unbelievable.
He's an impressive kid.
Unbelievably
He's a really
impressive.
impressive
But
young
I'm
man.
saying that from a chatting perspective, from your evaluation perspective, Sonny Styles, objectively.
Oh, he's outstanding. I mean, we went to their pro day last week, and they have 4 guys that are probably going to be picked in the top 10. That place is a factory, and they got great coaches, and the players are really well coached, and they're really good. And Sonny fits into that category. He's big, he's long, he's fast, he's athletic, he's really smart, he's a great leader. So, yeah, he's a really good player.
I told him, I think, like, you have all these things, but your football IQ is really what sort of
Yeah.
pops a little bit. Can you
Yeah.
speak to that a little bit from what you see?
Yeah, I mean, he gets those guys lined up. All the players on the team revere him. They talk about his leadership, his ability, his football IQ. The coaches do. So, I mean, if you talk to anybody there, he's going to be a team captain, guy for 10 years.
Yeah, a lot of nice things from Adam Peters on Sonny Styles right there. And now we can say that Washington has drafted Styles. And here was the phone call from Washington to Styles. So you'll hear GM Adam Peters, head coach Dan Quinn, and managing partner Josh Harris taking their turns talking to Styles.
Hello?
Sonny.
Hello?
Sonny, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sonny, Adam Peters with the Commanders. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, Mr. Peters. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. We were hoping you'd follow us, and you did, man. We're going to make you this pick at pick 7. I couldn't be more excited. You are everything we embody in a Commander. And you're just scratching the surface, dude. You're so good now, and you're going to be so good, dude. I can't wait to welcome you here and have you be a key part of our defense for 10 years to come, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. I'm ready to get to work.
Yeah. How you doing? Where you at? You in the green room?
Yeah, I'm in the green room with my family.
Yeah. Well, tell him you're a Commander, buddy. I'm gonna hand you to
Yes, sir.
Coach Quinn right now.
Yes,
All right.
yes, sir.
Hell yeah, Sonny.
What's up, Coach?
What's up, man? We talked about this in the office, making it happen, and like here
Yes,
enough
sir.
it
I
is,
told you I
bro.
was going to be back.
I already know you would be back, man. You're a true bad mother. I can't wait to coach you, bro. I cannot wait. So,
Way to get to work, Coach.
and no doubt, I'm gonna pass you along to our owner, Josh Harris. So here he is, bud. Congrats.
Yes, sir.
All right, here's
Thank
Josh.
you.
Hey, Sonny. Can't wait to see you in D.C. You're going to kill it
What's up,
down
sir? How we
here.
doing?
Are you with your mom and dad, or?
Yes, sir. I'm with my mom and dad.
All right, well, look, enjoy this night. I mean, you really killed it to get here, and we are so excited you're going to be a Commander, and can't wait to meet you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Can't wait to meet you.
All right, man. Celebrate up. We'll see you tomorrow. That's all for you.
Yes,
You're
sir.
all cheering?
Yes.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
See you soon.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right, good stuff there. So we on the podcast had been talking about the unpredictability of the 2026 NFL Draft, starting with the number 2 overall pick. Sure enough, that unpredictability played out. The top 7 picks in the draft. Number 1, the Las Vegas Raiders, as expected, took Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Number 2, the New York Jets took Texas Tech edge defender David Bailey. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals took Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. Number 4, the Tennessee Titans took Ohio State receiver Carnell Tate. Number 5, the New York Giants took Ohio State edge defender / linebacker Arvell Reese. Number 6, the Kansas City Chiefs traded up to take LSU cornerback Mansour Delane. And number 7, the Washington Commanders took Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. So Arvell Reese went from being mocked by many as going at 2 to not being taken until 5. The late speculation that Jeremiah Love might go 3 was proven legit. Carnell Tate surprisingly went at 4, and Sonny Styles surprisingly fell to 7. The New Orleans Saints, they at 8 took Arizona State receiver Jordan Tyson, a very talented guy, but a frightening injury history. Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, who we talked about a lot, he lasted all the way to the number 11 overall pick, with which he was taken by the Dallas Cowboys. Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson, he was taken by the Los Angeles Rams at 13. Miami edge defender Reuben Bain Jr., he was taken by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 15. Yeah, he fell all the way to 15. I wanted Adam Peters at 7 if Washington did not trade down to take the best player available on his draft board at the time of the pick. And I do believe that Sonny Styles was the best player on Washington's board at the time of the pick. Why do I believe that? A, there is a lot to like about Sonny Styles. B, Washington did not have some obvious need at linebacker, not off signing Leo Chenal as an unrestricted free agent last month and still having Frankie Louvu. Peters, in taking Styles, took the best player available. Bravo. That's how you do the NFL draft. Now, of course, Peters better be right because this was a big pick in a big offseason for him as Washington GM. But Sonny Styles has the potential to be a stud linebacker. He played college football for 4 seasons, all for Ohio State, 2022 through 2025. He was a safety for the 2022 and 2023 seasons and was a linebacker for the 2024 and 2025 seasons. Styles, like Leo Chenal, is so much of what Washington's defense this past season was not: young, athletic, and good against both the pass and run. Styles is 21. He was born on November 24th, 2004. His athleticism is incredible. Styles, this past February 26th, put on a show at the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. He measured as being 6'5" and 244 pounds. He measured as having a wingspan of 80 7/8 inches. He registered a 40-yard dash time of 4.46 seconds. He registered a vertical jump of 43.5 inches. He registered a broad jump of 11 feet and 2 inches. Styles scored a 9.99 out of a possible 10 in Kentley Platty's relative athletic score, RAS or RAS metric. This ranked, you ready for this? Number 4 out of 3,480 linebacker prospects from 1987 through 2026. And I mentioned Leo Chenal. He scored a 9.99 out of a possible 10 in the RAS metric. That ranked number 3 out of 2,410 linebacker prospects from 1987 through 2022. Washington now has the most athletic linebacker duo in NFL history per RAS. Washington now has 2 RAS legends at linebacker. Now, does this guarantee anything? No. There have been plenty of guys who excelled in RAS, but who did not do much in the NFL. See former Washington linebacker / edge defender Jamin Davis. But high athleticism indicates high upside. Sonny Styles has big-time upside, and he can play. Styles, for the 2025 season, had the following grades per Pro Football Focus. PFF grades are on a scale of 0 to 100. 60 is average. Overall grade of 88.0. Coverage grade of 87.4. Run defense grade of 87.8. Also, Styles in the 2025 season per PFF had 0 missed tackles. Yes, 0, as in none. This was off him per PFF having had a good number of missed tackles in the 2024 season. So he got appreciably better at his tackling from 2024 to 2025. Styles had the following big board rankings for the 2026 NFL Draft. NFL Draft analyst Todd McShay of The Ringer, number 3. NFL Draft analyst Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network, number 3. ESPN NFL Draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr., number 4. NFL Draft analyst Dane Brugler of The Athletic, number 4. NFL Draft analyst Thor Nystrom of Thor's NFL Draft Substack, number 9. NFL Draft analyst Mike Renner of CBS Sports, number 9. So Styles was a consensus top 10 player in the draft and was a top 4 player per a lot of notable draft experts, and Washington got him at 7. Here was the breakdown of Sonny Styles on ESPN's telecast of the first round of the draft. You'll hear host Mike Greenberg, then ESPN NFL analyst and former Redskins executive Louis Riddick, then ESPN NFL analyst Booger McFarland, then ESPN NFL Draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr., and then Greenberg again. Here you go.
Now, this is the first time that Ohio State has had 3 players selected in the first 7 overall. Sonny Styles, Lewis, you talked about him earlier, played safety his first 2 seasons in Columbus, switched to linebacker, just got better and better at 174 tackles in 2 years, 7 sacks, and an interception. First team All-American last season.
He's another guy whose career is just on a rocket ride right now, Greeny, as far as his development. Very similar to Arbel Reese, and you're going to see it here, the things that he can do. his football instinct and his football IQ when it comes to playing linebacker, having been a former safety, are just continuing to improve. Getting pre-snap held so that he can play downhill, key and diagnose, make TFLs like that. That's exactly what you want. A guy who's a former safety, how is he going to be able to play at the line of scrimmage as far as setting blocks and still being able to be productive at the point of attack? You see it there. He's getting better at that. His lateral agility, when you have a guy who's this big, who covers this much ground, that's going to be no problem for him. He's going to chase ball carriers down all over the field. And then his recognition and his reaction, his ability to transition in man or zone coverage. Again, the safety background comes into play. That's something he's going to excel at on third down once he gets to the league. Who's another guy who made this transition? The great Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher, who played that robber position in those three safety looks at New Mexico, transitioned into being one of the great linebackers with his height, his weight, his speed, and then eventually his physicality. That's what Sonny Styles is going to be. And here's the topper. This kid has no chinks in his armor when you're talking about football character. He is the creme de la creme when it comes to football character. He will be the face of that franchise along with Jaden Daniels.
When you have a guy that's this long, a lot of the coaches talk to me about him in pass coverage. We see the athleticism, but his wingspan is so big. Now, when he drops back in zone coverage, he's going to be hard to throw over. You got to fit the ball over a guy that's 6'4" with over an 80-inch wingspan. Nowadays, with so much zone coverage and so much too high safety, now you have another guy in the middle of the field that can take up a ton of space, Mel.
He was Sonny Styles. He cut down dramatically on the missed tackles. He transitioned safety to linebacker off ball. 2024, a lot of missed tackles. 2025, very few. He actually had 13 more tackles for Verghese. As far as the sack number, he got after the quarterback in his first year at off ball, had 6 sacks in 2024. He had 2 in the playoffs, 1 against Texas and 1 at Notre Dame. Now, he only had 1 sack this past season. He showed 2 years ago he could give you that pass rush. He is a tremendously talented player with so many versatile, mobile, athletic quarterbacks. This kid can track you down big time. They get the 4th best player, in my opinion, the 7th pick. Great choice for Washington.
Of course, his dad, Lorenzo Styles, was also a great player at Ohio State.
All right, we heard Booger McFarland talk about Sonny Styles' wingspan. Like I said, he at the Combine measured as having a wingspan of 80 7/8 inches. That works out to 6'8" 7/8 of an inch. A wingspan is considered especially long when it's longer than your height. Styles at the Combine measured as being 6'5". The wingspan, 6'8" 7/8 of an inch. Our coverage of the Washington Commanders in the 2026 NFL Draft is presented by the great Dr. George Verghese. He is one of the nation's premier dermatologists. He is a very loyal and very knowledgeable Washington fan, and operating under his direction is the Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland, which has locations in Waldorf, Maryland, Leonardtown, Maryland, and Lexington Park, Maryland. The Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland focuses on medical skin care, cosmetic procedures, and skin cancer diagnosis and comprehensive care. Call 301-396-3401 or visit midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Dr. Verghese and the Institute can help you or someone who you care about with any of a number of dermatological needs. If you're dealing with allergic reactions, if you're dealing with acne, psoriasis, or eczema, if you're interested in procedures like Botox, laser hair removal, chemical peels, or smart lipo, which is the latest in body sculpting technology, call 301-396-3401 or visit midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Also, Dr. Verghese and the Institute offer free skin cancer screenings to anyone considered a new patient, and Dr. Verghese and the Institute offer advanced treatments for skin cancer, including painless and scarless skin cancer treatment. 301-396-3401 or midatlanticskin.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. More on Sonny Styles. This was NFL Draft analyst Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network on NFL Network's telecast of the first round of the draft.
I talked to Adam Peters this last week, the general manager in Washington. I was talking about Sonny Styles and how he would be a perfect fit for Robert Saleh because he had been around Fred Warner in San Francisco. Well, Adam Peters had been around Fred Warner too. I just didn't think there was any chance Sonny Styles would be there for him to take. and so they take him right off the board. He's got a physical presence. He's a former safety that dropped down to linebacker. You see him working downhill. He's not afraid of contact, but he can also shoot gaps and make plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage. This was a question mark here. As a former safety, does he want to take guys on? He shows he has the ability to do that, and then that legit speed shows up not only in coverage, but when you want to add him on and rush him. In 24, he was very electric when they used him as a blitzer. So a versatile chess piece for a defense that was pretty bad last year in Washington.
Yeah, a defense that was pretty bad last year in Washington. That was Daniel Jeremiah being kind. A defense that was horrible last year in Washington. A defense that was atrocious last year in Washington. And so you look at what has been done this offseason to address the defense. A new defensive coordinator in Durante Jones, a number of unrestricted free agent acquisitions, interior defensive lineman Tim Settle and DJ Davidson, edge defenders Adafe Owe, Kelavon Chason, and Charles Omedehu, linebacker Leo Chanel, cornerback Samik Robertson, and Akello Witherspoon, safety Nick Cross, and now the selection of linebacker Sonny Styles with the number 7 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. This defense better be better. Positional value was a big topic going into this draft because some of the most well-regarded players, like Styles, in the draft play non-premium positions. We on Thursday's show, episode 1309, had a good conversation with NFL analyst Dan Pizzuta of Snaps and Stats. He wrote a really good piece exploring the myths and realities of positional value in the NFL. And one of the things that we got into, and I think this is really important, was that linebacker and safety, two non-premium positions, are becoming more important, are becoming more premium. Here's why.
So I think we're starting to see, especially last year over the past couple of years, we're always getting some kind of cyclical versions of NFL offenses. For a while, once Sean McVay came into the Rams, it was all 11 personnel, so everyone wanted to have 3 receivers and spread out. Last year, especially, we saw teams as defenses got better at figuring out how to stop the 11 personnel and some of the wide zone kind of run schemes that the McVays and the Shanahans had. Teams started to get a little bigger on offense. So we saw a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. We saw the Rams really lean into 13 personnel with 3 tight ends. So we saw them getting bigger and still being able to run their offense with kind of bigger bodies on the field. Defenses then had to figure out how they were going to be able to defend against that. And we saw some start to play base a little more often. That's 3 linebackers on the field. But not a lot of teams have 3 good linebackers. So really the cheat code was figuring out how to be able to still play nickel personnel to those heavier bodies and still have someone in a position who could be big enough to take on the tight ends in the run game, but also have enough coverage ability. That's where we kind of saw Nick Amenawari, who either played slot corner or a linebacker. When you have a Fred Warner, a guy who can do something like that, it's what a Kyle Hamilton can do. So when you have a body type that can play all the potential roles against bigger offensive players, especially with the tight ends when we're using more tight ends, if you don't have to change up your personnel on defense to be able to defend against that, that's kind of where the defenses are starting to have an advantage again.
Okay, all of that from Dan Pizzuta is key, but part of that was linebacker in the current NFL is taking on increased importance, although it is vital that the linebacker be good in pass coverage. Washington on Thursday night took a linebacker and Sonny Styles at 7, and he is a converted safety, and he has shown that he can be good in pass coverage. More reaction to the pick. Check the Mic with Steve Palazzolo and Sam Monson, a live broadcast on YouTube on Thursday night. Steve and Sam on Washington drafting Sonny Styles.
Sonny Styles, the linebacker, so another Ohio State defensive player off the board here for Washington.
Yeah, a ton of people's, one of their favorite players in the draft. Absolute just physical freak. I mean, the dude is huge, like a proper throwback to old school linebackers where they were 6'5", 250, but he can run like a 4.46 at that size. Just an absolute physical specimen at linebacker. goes into that defense should be, the new immediate tone-setting leader in the middle of that group?
So Sonny Styles, a really good player. The length, the size, he's an excellent zone defender. I told you that stat that I pulled out, that when he was in single coverage, which is a challenging role for a linebacker, he got beaten a little bit in one-on-ones over the last couple of years when he's one-on-one with a running back, as the broadcast shows him one-on-one and popping them. But one-on-one down the field, two-way goes against receivers early in his career when he was a safety. But his zone, feel, instincts, range, length, I think prototype at the position. He's pretty good against the run. I know some people didn't love the way he's, seeing the run game and making plays. He didn't make a ton of tackles or run stops in and around the line of scrimmage compared to some other linebackers. But how much of that is just, hey, you're with a bunch of dudes at Ohio State? But also, he's a good all-around three-down player.
Also being pretty new to the position. A guy that used to play safety is, moving closer to the line of scrimmage. It's a different picture when you're doing that. He's still learning that position. I think you could see the development and the evolution of that. I also wonder, by the way, everyone obviously is focused on Verghese and his projection and his conversion from off-the-ball linebacker to an edge at the next level. I mean, Sonny Styles is arguably more of an edge-shaped human than,
he really is.
Than Verghese. Now, he hasn't done the same thing. Like, they didn't really deploy him in any kind of hybrid role, have him rushing the passer off the edge the same way. But the guy that was a former safety and has already moved towards the line of scrimmage, I do wonder if Washington's dabbled with that kind of stuff in the past. I mean, Dan Campbell obviously did it with Micah Parsons in Dallas, but they also, Frankie Louvu has messed around with that type of hybrid stuff. I do wonder if they would send him on the blitz a lot more.
Yeah, I wonder that too. Sam Monson, by the way, said Dan Campbell, as in the Detroit Lions head coach, of course meant Dan Quinn, the Washington head coach. So Washington in the 2026 NFL Draft has the following remaining picks: a third-round pick, the number 71 overall pick, a fifth-round pick, the number 147 overall pick, a sixth-round pick, the number 187 overall pick, another sixth-round pick, the number 209 overall pick, and a seventh-round pick, the number 223 overall pick. So as of now, just one pick for Friday night, on which we have rounds 2 and 3 of the draft, and 4 picks on Saturday afternoon, on which we have rounds 4 through 7 of the draft. I do still want Adam Peters going best player available, but if we're talking needs, to me, still a significant need at receiver, still a significant need at cornerback. Would love to see more be done to address those two positions. But again, go best player available. I just hope the best players available as these Washington picks come up happen to be at receiver and cornerback. If you are among the many people for whom buying eyeglasses has been complicated and costly, check out Warby Parker, W-A-R-B-Y Parker. Nothing comes close to the quality, price, selection, and customer service of Warby Parker, which has revolutionized buying eyeglasses. Once you buy from Warby Parker, you realize how much easier it has made the entire process. Warby Parker's virtual try-on is a total game changer. You literally can try on glasses from your phone before you buy them. You just point your camera and boom, you see tons of frames on your face in real time. Warby Parker's prescription glasses start at $95, so you can actually get quality and stylish frames at an affordable price. And Warby Parker doesn't just offer incredible prescription glasses. It has everything that you need for happier eyes, including contacts, online eye exams, and sunglasses. Warby Parker is covered by major eye insurance plans. And how about this with Warby Parker? For every pair of glasses that Warby Parker sells, it also gives a pair to someone in need. Warby Parker has distributed over 20 million pairs of glasses to people in need through its Buy a Pair, Give a Pair program. Warby Parker is offering a great deal to listeners of the Al Galdi podcast. Right now, buy one prescription pair and get 20% off any additional prescription pairs at warbyparker.com/Galdi. That's 20% off additional prescription pairs when you go to warbyparker.com/Galdi. warbyparker.com/Galdi. So you do not need to have been a Washington Nationals fan for long to be familiar with the team having bad relief pitching. The Nats, over so many of their now 22 seasons in Washington, D.C., have had bad relief pitching. But could it be that this season's relief pitching is the worst yet for the Nats? Long way to go. But do not dismiss that possibility. Another bullpen meltdown and another Nats loss, a 7-2 loss to the Atlanta Braves at Nationals Park on Thursday afternoon to lose 3 out of 4 games in the series and to conclude a 2-5 homestand. The Nats in MLB's 2026 regular season now are 11-15, 3-10 at home versus 8-5 on the road. That home road disparity is something. 3-10 at home versus 8-5 on the road. Well, the Nats do now have a 6-game road trip, so road, sweet road. You know the saying, home, sweet home? For the Nats, the mantra is road, sweet road. The Braves, they in this regular season now are a National League East best 18-8, and yeah, the Nats bullpen struck again. The Nats overcame a 2-1 fourth-inning deficit with a run in the bottom of the fourth. The game was tied at 2 in the seventh, and the Nats allowed 4 runs in the top of the seventh and a run in the top of the ninth. 4 Nats relievers combined to allow 5 runs in 4 innings. Now, Richard Lovelady did well. He, in the top of the 6th, faced 4 batters and got 3 outs, including a 3-pitch swinging strikeout of pinch hitter Eli White with runners on first and second, 2 outs, and the game tied at 2. That seemed like a big out at the time, but Ciano Perez and Gus Varland, they really struggled in that Braves 4-run seventh. Ciano Perez officially allowed 3 runs in a third of an inning. He had what ended up being that 4-run seventh for the Braves, faced 4 batters, but got just 1 out. He generated a swinging strikeout of Ronald Acuna Jr., but then sandwiched 2 1-out walks around a 1-out single to load the bases. And Gus Varland, he officially allowed 1 run in 2/3 of an inning, but he was much worse than that line suggests. He had a nightmare of an outing. Varland came into the game in the top of the 7th with the bases loaded, 1 out, and the score tied at 2. Before he even threw a pitch, was called for a pitch clock violation. He, on his very first actual pitch, issued a run-scoring wild pitch for a 3-2 Braves lead. Varland, on his next pitch, gave up a 1-out, 2-run single by Ozzie Albies to right field for a 5-2 Braves lead. Varland, 2 pitches later, gave up a 1-out RBI double by Michael Harris II off the right center field warning track for a 6-2 Braves lead. And Varland then gave up a 1-out single by ex-Nat Dominic Smith to right field on an 0-2 pitch, by the way. Varland was bad, but he was bad in like lightning quick fashion. Everything unraveled over just a handful of pitches, and the unraveling started before he even threw a pitch via that pitch clock violation. And Julian Fernandez, he allowed 1 run in 2 innings. He, in the top of the 9th, gave up a leadoff homer by Ozzie Albies to right field for a 7-2 Braves lead. Now, the Nats shortly after the game announced having optioned Fernandez to AAA Rochester, and the corresponding roster move reportedly will be the Nats promoting pitcher Riley Cornelio from AAA Rochester, for which Cornelio has been a starting pitcher, but the plan appears to be for him to serve as a reliever for the Nats at the major league level for now. But like I said, the Nats bullpen struck again. The Nats for this regular season now have the following relief pitching stats: ERA of 5.56, WHIP of 1.52, 23 home runs allowed in 124 2/3 innings, 62 walks allowed in 124 2/3 innings, just 98 strikeouts in 124 2/3 innings. And the lack of strikeouts is a major problem. 98 strikeouts in 124 2/3 innings works out to a strikeouts per 9 innings of just 7.07. Way too low for a bullpen. You want that relief pitching strikeouts per 9 innings to be in double digits, 10. At worst, 9. 7.07. Way too low of a strikeouts per 9 innings for a bullpen. Now, of course, none of this is exactly shocking. We anticipated the Nats bullpen in this season number 1 of a restarted rebuild potentially being bad, but the extent of the bad is disappointing. The bullpen was an Achilles heel for Mike Rizzo as Nats president of baseball operations and general manager. How will Paul Taboni prove to be as Nats president of of baseball operations regarding bullpens. You know, the irony with Rizzo having the bullpen as an Achilles heel is that one of his first major accomplishments running Nats baseball ops was improving the bullpen in season during the 2009 season. Perhaps you remember the Nats closer that season, Mike McDougal, who had maybe the best nickname in Nats history, Mac the Ninth. I was a big fan of that nickname for Mike McDougal, Mac the Ninth. But Rizzo actually improved that Nats bullpen in that 2009 season, even though, yes, the bullpen proved to be an Achilles heel for him running Nats baseball ops. What about Taboni and the Nats with their new analytics-based process? Can Taboni and his staff work some in-season magic here with this bullpen via, improvement from within and/or call-ups and/or waiver claims to where the bullpen gets better? Doesn't have to be dominant, but it's a shame with the Nats offense overall being good that this bullpen is this bad. Now, a major positive from the Nats 7-2 loss to the Braves at Nationals Park on Thursday afternoon is that 3 key young Nats players did well. Starting pitcher Cade Cavalli had a good outing. Right fielder James Wood homered, and shortstop C.J. Abrams homered. Cade Cavalli, he had been struggling. He came into this game with the following stats over 5 games, all starts in this regular season. ERA of 4.12, whip of 1.73, just 19 2/3 innings pitched. He was lucky that ERA wasn't higher given how high his whip was, and the mere 19 2/3 innings over 5 starts really stood out. But Cavalli on Thursday afternoon was very good, and against one of the best teams in MLB, he allowed 2 runs in 5 innings with 10 strikeouts versus no walks. 2 runs in 5 innings. Exactly what I asked for on the preceding installment of the Nats Chat podcast. And Cavalli didn't just give us 2 runs in 5 innings. He gave us 10 strikeouts versus no walks. So good to see that. He gave up 7 hits, which were 2 doubles and 5 singles. He issued a hit by pitch, but he threw a lot of strikes. 85 pitches, 62 strikes, just 23 balls. Cavalli in the top of the 4th allowed 2 runs as he gave up a leadoff double by Matt Olson off the right center field warning track, an opposite field double by Austin Riley to right field, a first pitch RBI sac fly by Ozzie Albies to tie the game at 1, and a 1-out opposite field RBI single by Michael Harris II to left center field for a 2-1 Braves lead. But Cavalli really came through in the top of the 5th. He in the top of the 5th gave up a leadoff single by Ronald Acuna Jr. up the middle, but Cavalli then generated 3 consecutive swinging strikeouts of the Braves' numbers 2 through 4 batters in Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, and Austin Riley. Awesome to see that. No starting pitcher for the Nats at the major league level matters more than Cade Cavalli. The Nats took him with the number 22 overall pick in the 2020 MLB first-year player draft out of the University of Oklahoma. This is his age 27 season. He missed a lot of time off undergoing Tommy John surgery on his right elbow in March 2023, but Thursday afternoon was a reminder of what Cavalli can be. Here was Nats manager Blake Butera during his postgame press conference on Thursday afternoon on Cade Cavalli, and then you'll hear a follow-up exchange.
Yeah, I hope he takes this and runs with it. I thought this outing was, I know this outing was the best one by far. No walks, I think 10 strikeouts. The stuff was huge. He was attacking guys. He just looked different out there. He looked like he was ready to go from the jump and just went right at people and attacked them. And with the stuff that he has when he's in the zone as frequently as he was today, the results are going to be really good.
Why do you think he was in the zone more often in this game?
I don't know. If you asked him last time, I'd say he wanted to be. It wasn't, I don't think, anything major. Maybe he tells you something differently, but I think he just attacked hitters better. And that's what he's done before, especially in spring training. There was a lot of that. I know the last few outings, a little bit more hit or miss with him being in the zone. Today he looked like the Cade Cavalli we expect to see.
Yeah, Cade Cavalli in this game per StatCast had an average four-seam fastball velocity of 97.1 miles per hour. We later, in the Blake Butera postgame press conference on Thursday afternoon, had this exchange.
It felt like, especially early on, that Cade was kind of almost simplifying that arsenal. What do you think? Do you think was that kind of part of the plan? And what do you think, just going back to that fastball and curveball, do you think that's just kind of something that he feels more comfortable with?
Yeah, I think so. You definitely have to ask Cade himself. But just really happy that Cade attacked and got ahead of hitters and didn't walk anybody today, made them swing the bats. This is a really good lineup. I know it sounds crazy to say we want them to swing the bat, but we do.
All right. By the way, Nats pitchers in this 7-2 loss to the Braves at Nationals Park on Thursday afternoon combined for 15 strikeouts. This off Nats pitchers in the 8-6 loss to the Braves at Nationals Park on Wednesday evening combining for just 1 strikeout. The Nats offense on Thursday afternoon, a rare bad game. Just 2 runs, just 5 hits, which were 2 home runs and 3 singles, just 2 walks. How about this? 0 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Yeah, the Nats did not have a single at-bat with a runner in scoring position the entire game. The Braves starting pitcher was J.R. Ritchie, who they took with the number 35 overall pick in the 2022 MLB first-year player draft out of a high school in the state of Washington. He, in what was his MLB regular season debut, allowed 2 runs in 7 innings with 7 strikeouts. Very impressive. Though he, on his very first pitch, gave up a homer. James Wood, he is the Nats starting right fielder, and number 1 batter went 1 for 4 with a solo homer. Did strike out twice, but Wood in the Nats 1-run first had a leadoff first pitch homer to right field, a rare pull-side homer for Wood for a 1-0 Nats lead. This marked Wood homering for a 3rd consecutive game, and the homer came on J.R. Ritchie's first pitch in his first MLB regular season game. But James Wood is rolling. He now has homered in 3 consecutive games and did 5 of the Nats' last 7 games. Wood for this regular season now has an OPS of 1,010 and now has 10 home runs. C.J. Abrams, he is the Nats starting shortstop and number 4 batter, went 1 for 3 with a solo homer and a walk. Abrams in the Nats 1-run 4th had a 1-out solo homer to right center field to tie the game at 2. The homer went a projected 426 feet per StatCast. Abrams for this regular season now has an OPS of 975 and now has 7 home runs, and he now has 13 walks. And I bring that up because Abrams, for all of last regular season, totaled just 37 walks. His walk rate has shot up. And regarding that, a piece from the Associated Press on Thursday morning, headline, quote, "With walks at 75-year high, players point to ABS changes," end quote. Is C.J. Abrams among the many MLB players benefiting from ABS changes regarding drawing walks? I read to you from the piece, quote, "Walks have skyrocketed to near historic highs through the season's first month. There is no direct evidence ABS is the reason for the increase, but as Diamondbacks catcher James McCann said, of course it is. What other rules have changed? MLB players have drawn a walk in 9.8% of plate appearances this season through Wednesday's games, which would be the highest rate since 1950. The rate is likely to come down as the season progresses. Pitchers usually have more trouble finding the zone during widespread chilly conditions in northern cities during March and April. But even adjusted for the time of year, walks have made a massive jump from last season. Everyone knew the strike zone would change. MLB had to rewrite its definition of the zone to accommodate the shift to robot umpires. The official baseball rules long described a zone as stretching from the midpoint of the hitter's torso down to the hollow beneath the kneecap. The new zone is more precise. It starts at 27% of a batter's standing height and stretches to 53.5%. The ABS zone is 17 inches wide, matching the width of home plate. All pitches are measured at the midpoint of the plate, end quote. This is going to be very interesting to follow. Does the overall walk rate in MLB continue to be sky high? And if so, is MLB's new automated ball strike challenge system, ABS, the main reason? Or is this more, correlation than causation? Like, is it not the case that ABS is causing this? We'll see. But I found that to be a fascinating piece by the Associated Press. And also with the Nats offense on Thursday afternoon, Dalen Lyle, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 6 batter, went 2 for 2 with 2 singles and a walk, but he got tagged out in an attempted steal of home. Lyle, in the bottom of the second, had a 1-out opposite field single to left field, but he got tagged out between third base and home plate on a failed attempt at a delayed steal of home with runners at the corners and 2 outs. So the runner on first base, Jorbeat Bibas, did what he was supposed to do in getting caught in a rundown between first base and second base, but the Braves abandoned that and got Lyle caught in a rundown. First time in 3 tries in this regular season that this play did not work out for the Nats. They had been doing a nice job with that play, but the play did not work out on Thursday afternoon. But a 2-hit game for Dalen Lyle. He got off to a slow start, but he now is doing well. Lyle for this regular season now has an OPS of 799. Next up for the Nats is a 6-game road trip beginning with a 3-game series at the Chicago White Sox. Game 1 Friday night at 7:40, Miles Michaelis will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 2 Saturday afternoon at 4:10, Jake Irvin will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 3 Sunday afternoon at 2:10, Foster Griffin will be the Nats starting pitcher. And that'll do it for you and me for now, but there's more to come. The next installment of this podcast will come out on Sunday morning, what will be episode 1311, the oh-so-rare weekend installment of the podcast, the oh-so-rare scheduled emergency installment of the podcast, with in-depth reaction to and analysis of whatever the Washington Commanders do over Day 2 and Day 3 of the 2026 NFL Draft. We on Friday night have rounds 2 and 3. We on Saturday afternoon have rounds 4 through 7. Also on Sunday's show, we'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. The Nats over Friday and Saturday have the first 2 games of a 3-game series at the Chicago White Sox. The O's over Friday and Saturday have the first 2 games of a 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great Saturday, and I'll talk to you on Sunday.
With the 7th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State.